Mr. Pash and let you guys take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Cindy, and thank you, council members, for allowing us to present in front of you this project, the Delta Flood Emergency Response Facilities Improvement Project. And it's been exciting work, and we've had a lot of real good partnerships developed as far, not just as part of this specific projects that it's up for your approval, but also in the development of the entire Delta Flood Emergency Preparedness, Response, and Recovery Program. So thank you for that. My name is John Pash, Senior Engineer with the Department of Water Resources, and Anthony Navasero is our lead engineer on this specific facility improvement project, and I'll let him jump into any of the details of the three facilities that comprise this project.
I think this is on, right? Yeah, great. Thank you, John. Again, thank you, council members and chair, for inviting us here. As John pointed out, I am the project engineer for the facilities improvement project. And if you recall, back in October, we presented to you these three specific sites that our report has delineated from overall 200 sites that we created criteria, did an analysis, and zeroed in and recommended on these three sites. Specifically, they are the West Weber site in Stockton in San Joaquin County. We also have, that would be the next slide here. We have the Rio Vista site in Solano County, as well as the Brandon Island Recreational area site with Sacramento County. So just to give you an overall of what each site has and the different aspects of it and where we're at today. Currently, I'm on the second slide here of the Stockton Weber facility site plan, and it denotes basically there's about 13 acres of this site, 9.5 acres of which we've just acquired, and we're pursuing an additional 13 acres to the north area. Key to these sites are access, highway and freeway access to supply these areas with materials. And so for this particular area, the access from Highway 5 is a key component. But the proposed improvements that we have on this site are a stockpiling of 40,000 cubic yards of material, rock, soil, sand. And in addition, we'll be moving 110,000 tons or cubic yards of material from our current leased location at the Port of Stockton. We will be also stocking preloaded trailers that will have flood fight materials such as sandbags, plastic buttons, as you might see in front of us here, visqueen, and so forth, so they could be deployed quickly at any request that we may have. As well as we will have warehouse space here that will have more flood fight supplies, as well as muscle wall and other proprietary flood fighting supplies. This particular site has a helicopter pad location for reconnaissance and deploying some of the materials. Unique to some of these sites, there are some water transfer facilities where we can actually move materials from land onto barges and flood fight from the water side of any levees. And in addition, we'll have direct loading onto those barges and also conveyor use of loading of those barges. Some of these facilities, like West Weber, will have an incident command center, as well as construction trailers for incident command posts for operations of these facilities. Currently, the West Weber site, like I mentioned, we are going through acquisition. We're proposing the acquisition will be completed sometime in May, and we will continue doing our preliminary assessments of geotechnical investigation, environmental assessment to these sites per our CEQA documents, and starting final design and construction sometime in May. Excuse me, not construction, but design in May. We will start to go out with plans and specs later in October, and then continue through February of 2015, and hopefully acquire contractors by June of 2015 for this site. The next slide is the Rio Vista facility site. Again, it has similar improvements. This is in Solano County. Approximately is 65 acres, although not all of the acreage is going to be used up. We will have about 20,000 cubic yards of material that already exists here is 110,000 cubic yards of material. Again, access from Highway 84 and 12 are key for this location. Proposed improvements are, again, stockpiles of materials and supplies, construction trailers for instant command post, and then preloaded trailers for deployment. This particular site, the acquisition is not a purchase, is actually a lease with Central Valley Flood Protection Board. We're looking to meet with the board sometime in April to get an action to approve our lease as a consent item. The preliminary design we're still working through. We're doing our geotechnical investigation sometime in April, and we completed our initial environmental assessments back in February. Final design is, I noticed here there's an error here. It actually is slated for the beginning of May 2014 and to continue on through December. Plans and specs will be developed starting in June and completed back in 2015 of March. And hopefully by then we'll be awarding contract and starting work then. Finally, the last facility here, the Brandon Island State Recreational Area. This is in Sacramento County. Access to this area is from Highway 160. And the acreage for this site is kind of varies because of the facility and correlation with recreational use. The facilities that we're proposing are kind of spread out and meant to kind of be screened off from the recreational use, and so that we're not impeding on any kind of natural beauty or environments that are out there. So there's no necessary acreage. At the time, we are working with the Department of Recreation to develop a MUO or MUA to provide us access to this site. This site, we're going to have water transfer facilities, as you might see in the exhibit here, the figure. Not all of these conveyor locations will be deployed. This is just for CEQA so that we can have an idea of exactly where the locations might be located for these conveyor belts. But in totality, I don't think we're using all of those locations. But we will have storage of materials, excuse me, as well as preloaded trailers, a helipad, and incident command post at this location. The process for this one is a little bit more time-consuming. We're still working out the MOU, and we're projecting by late July that we'll be working with that and completing that. Our assessments will be completed sometime in September, and we will start working with final design sometime in May. Pardon me. Plans and specs will be picked up in September 2015 or 14, and then completed and hopefully going to bid sometime April 2015, and then notice to proceed in late June. So the next slide here just basically lines out the tasks that we've had for this process to get these projects up and running. We've completed task 1, which is the CEQA regulatory review. That was done in June of 2013. It delineated all the mitigation measures that we've outlaid to basically make this a mitigated negative deck projects. We're kind of in the middle of task 2, which is a site acquisition and construction. We're purchasing, developing the memo of understanding, agreements, and leases. And as we get approval from the council, we will start moving into final design work. And then after that, we proceed by 2015. We look to award and start construction of these 3 facilities with the intention that it'll be completed by 2017. So at that there are any specific questions, I'll hand this back to Mr. John Pash.
Any questions of Anthony? No. Proceed.
I just wanted to add, that we really consider ourselves careful and prudent stewards of public trust and resources here. The funding that's been authorized and appropriated to the Department of Water Resources to build the regional capacity to respond to flood events, and so we've got a project here before you for your approval that hits the nail right on the head.